Today I'm going to give a brief overview of the micropycelium mesh networking project. We're going to start with firmware building and installation here. You can just go to the GitHub repo, then click on the link for build notes. Just follow the instructions for environmental setup. I've forked MicroPython at a revision that I know is stable and works with my code, but there's an option for cloning the original MicroPython repository and checking out that specific commit if you prefer to do it that way. Then clone the micropycelium repo and just continue copying and pasting. I already have the ESP32 repository cloned, so I'm just running the install command here. And you can see it works just fine. Then at this step, you select the exact commands based on which device you're running. I recommend starting with the stamp S3 because it's the easiest and most reliable. That sets up a number of things. This copies over the file editor in case you want to use that. And then paste and enter and it will start compiling. While that is compiling, I want to talk briefly about the spanning tree algorithm. The gist of it is first an election of a root node which gets an empty coordinate set. Then the root assigns unique coordinates to its neighbors, adding them as children in the tree. Then they do the same with their neighbors. The coordinates are compacted into an address which has up to 32 coordinates with a compact string representation as shown here. In practice, there is an additional 8-bit integer for the network state to differentiate between different trees during automatic setup. A tree can have between 16 and 32 levels with up to 1.2 times 10 to the 34th power of members. That is roughly a quadrillion or a billion trillion nodes. And each node needs to store only the addresses of its immediate neighbors to be able to route packets. And this will become relevant later on once the firmware has finished building and installing. And eventually it does finish writing to the device. I've time warped ahead here because it takes a while. And then once it's finished, you can connect through serial TTY. I'm using screen here, but you can use another tool if you want to. And then you need to add the main file. And I'm just using my file editor here to do this. And at this point I realized I forgot to add a link to the main file or instructions for it. And so I've added that after editing this video. Copy paste the 2-line code, or you can click the link to get to this reference file. Then just copy the code. Append 32 lines. Paste, enter, write, quit, then Control D to soft reboot. Now you can see some of the logs as it's running. You can type question mark to get a list of commands. Right here I'm highlighting that we've received a packet here, and that's just indicating that the second device that I plugged in to a battery pack has started communicating with it, and we can see it communicating back and forth here a little bit. Just running through some more commands. One interesting thing about this console program here is that the whole thing is asynchronous, including the input. That was a little bit tricky to figure out. And this is what it looks like when they're pinging each other. A little bit of blinking. Demonstrating the debug command here. It glitched out a little bit the first time, so I just ran it again. And the debug command uses the gossip layer, which is not affected by direct connections. So generally speaking, the gossip layer is fairly reliable. This admin command with feedbeef password, I'm using this to tell the second device to ban the device that I'm connected to here. And so as long as it's banned, any direct connections which the ping command uses will be blocked. So the other one is not going to respond at all. Then I can just unban it just as easily here. And as soon as it's unbanned, it will respond again to the ping requests. So now I've got a second experiment here. I've connected a third device to a battery pack. And so now I'm having the second device ban the first device. And now we can see the third device is available. Just wait for its routes to propagate. And while we're waiting, we'll debug it. Get some basic info. We can get the routes as well. Sometimes it takes a little while for these to complete because there's a lot of computations going on in the background still. Then after enough time has passed, the route will have propagated from the new device. And so we're just pinging it here. One thing to note about the addresses is that the first number before the dash represents the tree that the address belongs to. So now I'm looking up the next hop according to the routing algorithm. I realized here that I forgot to ban that node from the local device. And so I go ahead and ban it here. And when I run the get next hop command, it shows me that it has to route through the third device. And so now when we ping it, slight error there, but when we ping it, it gets through, although at only a 75% success rate this time. I presented this project at the Hack NWA 2025 conference, and if you want to see the slides, you can go to hacknwa2025.pycelium.com, and I'm just running through them really quickly here so you can get an idea of what they look like. And that's it.